I love this topic. You're not going to want to miss next week, though, with Stuart. He is a very unique person. I've gotten to know him in the last few years, like incredible in helping people find career paths and understanding what they should be doing with their life. But like, he'll probably get a chance to share with you, like he is a sponsor in AA, has been for years. He's been a recovered alcoholic, I think, for close to 30 years. Like, just incredible guy. You're going to love this guy next week, so make sure you're here. Invite someone to come. He's funny, too, so I think you'll really enjoy him. Okay, so adulting. I love the topic because I've been a pastor for 32 years. I've had a front row seat to watch so many people emerge into adulthood, become fruitful, healthy, mature adults, really making progress in life, feeling like not just contributing, but being successful in life. I've also seen countless people get stuck in life, spin their wheels, and really develop unhealthy patterns that follow them throughout their life. And so I used to think it was based on circumstances, maybe the home you're born into, the situation that you may have experienced. But I noticed something over the years. I've met people who were born into very difficult circumstances who became incredibly successful. And I met people who had so many advantages growing up in the home they did and not be successful. So I know it's got to be more than just circumstances that play into this. And so I thought, let's start with playing a game. I'm going to show you a picture of people. I'm going to just softball, easy ones to start with. And you got to raise your hand. You got to tell me who this person is. These are all people who have been overcomers. They have overcome past traumas, past difficulties to be quite successful in life. So honestly, the first couple are going to be so easy. You're going to be like, what? This is like brain dead. But it's going to get a little harder as we go. So first one, let's go to the first one. Anyone know who she is? Oh, we had her there for a second. Okay. Oh, thank you. Why was there only one person? This is going to be really hard for you guys, I think. So Oprah Winfrey, born into a family with extreme poverty, incredible abuse. She has become one of the most successful media influencers in recent history. Incredible media personality, but not just personality, corporation. I mean, she is a boss. So you have, she's overcome a lot of her roots of what she came out of. Next one should be quite easy. Thank you. Mandela, yeah. 27 years in prison because he opposed apartheid, a racist government policy that oppressed blacks in South Africa. He not only became the president, the first black president of South Africa, he is known for his reconciliation, forgiveness, and his work against injustices in this world and his work for equality. So he's dead and gone now, but he overcame 27 years in prison. What that must do to a man, and to be able to move ahead and be freeing so many others. Quite a successful one. This one should be easy. I don't know, but see if you know the next one. Anyone? Anyone? Yes? J.K. Rowling. So a single mom in abject poverty, rejected by multiple publishers. Fun fact, I was in Scotland in 2012 with my guys, and we went to the coffee shop that she wrote Harry Potter in on a typewriter, on a laptop, sitting in that coffee shop, because that's all the money she had was she could get a coffee, and she got access to somehow the internet and stuff, and that's how she wrote that. And of course, she's become one of the best-selling authors in history to date. So these are fairly easy ones, but based on the responses here, I'm not encouraged that you are going to get the next ones. So the next one, let's go to the next one. This one's going to be hard, I think. Who? Yes? Yes! Jaden, yell that name out. Malala. Do you know who she is? She's a Pakistani woman who was shot by the Taliban at age 15 for championing the rights of women. She is the youngest ever Nobel Peace Prize winner, recognized internationally for her advocacy work, for equality, and for forwarding the cause of women globally. So thank you. I was, okay. Based on how quickly or how slowly we got Oprah, I thought we were never going to get this one. Let's go to the next one. Oh, do I got you? Anyone got his first name? Last name's hard to say. Nick. Yes. Nick Vujicic. Nick Vujicic. So Nick was born without arms, without legs, a substantial disability in life. He is a global motivational speaker. He is a Christian, a real man of faith. He has motivated and encouraged thousands globally, millions actually, with his message, not just his book, but his motivational speaking. So not bad. That was pretty good there. Okay, last one. Anyone know? I'm going historical here. Anyone know who this is? I feel like there's $20 Pastor Stephanie will give you if you can get this one. Whoa. What was that? Helen Keller.
Whoa.
Helen Keller.
I don't have $20.
If you don't know Helen Keller was at 19 months old, lost her hearing and her sight. She's completely blind, completely deaf. She's a best-selling author, an incredible speaker. She spent her life advocating for those with disabilities in an era where there was no supports for people who were blind, very little, definitely blind and deaf, and almost impossible barriers. So why I share that is, of course, these can feel like anomalies, and I get that, because I would never minimize the circumstances to which you might be challenged with, or the things that you might have coming at you, and reasons why maybe getting into adulthood and being successful and moving forward in life could be difficult. But I hold that up because I want to say it's actually often not our circumstances that become our barrier. It's our mindsets that become our barrier. And these people are interesting because they represent multiple barriers of poverty. And I just listed a bunch of barriers. I was thinking of some of the things that the people I've been with and pastored over the years have had to deal with. Poverty, family brokenness, racism, colonialism, sexism, abuse, immigration barriers, disabilities, mental health issues, just to name a few. But they're all circumstantial barriers. I like what there's no shade on that, but some of those barriers become limiting barriers. For other people, they become accelerations. They become things they stand on to grow into something more significant. There's a Lebanese businessman who immigrated to the U.S. His name is Nido Quibin. He said this: "Your present circumstances don't determine where you can go. They merely determine where you start." Your present circumstances don't determine where you go. They merely determine where you start. So there's notes in the middle of your table. You can grab those notes if you'd like. We're going to follow along, going to dive into some things that are to do with mindsets, because it's the mindsets that we hold that often hold us back. It's our mindsets. I don't know, if I had a nickel for every adult I've worked with over the years with an adolescent mindset. They're stuck in a previous narrative, an old story, and they keep playing it over and over, and they're stuck in a cycle. And you know, when Pastor Stephanie asked me to speak, and by the way, you got an incredible pastor here in Pastor Stephanie and Pastor Aaron. I'm so glad to have these guys leading here, and I always love to have Melissa and Venice, the whole Next Gen team. They're just incredible, and I love what they do in this church, and so I just want to thank them for what they're doing. But I know that these mindsets, when she asked me to speak on this, I just thought, you know, I'm going to be really raw and honest with you. The stuff I've experienced, the things I've seen, the adults I've interacted with, and I'm going to give you 6 mindsets in the bottom, shifts, that I think will change the trajectory of your life if adopted. So let's start, though, with the Bible verse, because it's good to start there. The Apostle Paul talks, and he's talking about mindsets. He's talking about leaving something behind. You probably noticed in the weekend gatherings I've been using a little bit of the Gen Z version, because I'm just loving the freshness of it. So I'd like you to say it out loud with me, because you're a little quiet today. So I'd like you to say it out loud with me. You ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yo, fam. But there's one thing. And I don't know, but it's fun. Here's what I would say. If you're not leaving stuff behind from adolescence to go into adulthood, you will be left behind. If you're not leaving stuff behind from adolescence moving into adulthood, you will get left behind. There are things and mindsets that need to change if you're going to become the version, an adult version of who God made you to be. So let's play a little game. I want to play a little game where you're going to talk at your tables. It's really not a game, it's an activity, really. I want you to think, and start thinking of it now because I'm going to throw a little twist at you. This is a table talk, and you're going to see a picture of my parents when they were, Mom was, I think, 24 there. I don't know how many are 24. That was my mother at 24. My dad was 10 years older, so he's probably 34 there. He's a 10-year-old guy, 10 years older. Well, there you go. So I want you to think, what are some positive mindsets that you have seen, that you've seen move people forward, and what are some negative or limiting mindsets that have pulled them back? But here's the caveat. I want you to think of your parents. I want you to think about your parents. Listen, no shade on your parents. Here's why. Because I don't want, like my parents were my heroes. I'm going to share a limiting mindset I inherited from my family at the end of this exercise. My parents were my heroes. I loved them. They loved me. They did everything they could to sacrifice. They worked hard. So this is not to bore holes in our parents or deflate them. But here's the truth. The mindsets they have, they're likely the mindsets you're carrying. And they're often the mindsets that carry you in life. That's why so many people repeat and rinse cycles of brokenness, and why so many people have limiting things. There's a proverb in the book of Ezekiel. There's very little proverbs in the book of Ezekiel. It's a prophetic book. But in the book of Ezekiel, there's a proverb there. It's an ancient Jewish proverb. Here's what it says. The parents have eaten sour grapes, but their children's mouths pucker at the taste. And what it was, like I had to look it up to really get into the historical narrative of it. What it was saying is, basically, the Jewish people believed that the children inherited the mindsets of their parents. And that is so often the truth. Your family of origin shapes the way you see the world, how you posture yourself as you head into the world as an adult. So something's going to need to be left behind, and something should be taken with you. When Shelley and I first, we fell in love. I married Shelley when I was 23. She was 22 at the time. We were young guys. Like we started dating. Like I think I knew her since I was 13. But like I think I asked her out. I think when I was like 21. And I remember us going into marriage because Shelley's family was so broken. She had a lot going on in her family. My family had problems, and we just went through a little inventory. What are we going to take, and what are we not going to take with us? I wish we had done it better for ourselves, though. We were thinking just about a relationship. But I held on to a ton of my narratives of my family. So you're going to have 8 minutes. You're going to talk at your table. Be open. There's no shade, no dissing your parents. Every parent needs to be forgiven. That's part of being an adult. You got to forgive them at some point in time. But recognize this. Every hero has clay feet, and so do your parents. No one has the full bag, guys. So you're going to talk about what are some of the positive mindsets you see in your parents that you think, man, that was something that moved them forward in life, and what are some of the limiting mindsets that you can see that maybe hurt them as they forge forward in life. Are you ready? 8 minutes. Timer's coming on. Right now, and it's a blender. Okay, we'll turn it down a little bit. Once you hear it blending the lemons, you know it's getting time. Go ahead and talk. We're going to ask for responses after. Okay, we have lemonade now. First off, how did that go? Did that feel weird to talk about your parents? So many people, and rightfully so, we're to honor our parents, and then there's honor-based culture. Here's the thing: your parents' mindset has been implanted in them too. Usually the conditions. So there are generational mindsets that are different than 2024. There are maybe cultural of your first gen. You know, your parents are anchored in a different culture and you're being raised in another culture, and it's hard. I'm very sympathetic to parents. It's not easy. But you want to make sure you move into life with as little limitations as possible, and a lot of that is changing your thinking. So I'm going to ask somebody who's going to write, who's going to record.
Someone want to write?
Who's got good handwriting?
I'm dyslexic, so you don't want me up there.
Okay, come on up, Goose.
Yay, Goose.
What? Were you doing these markers? Yeah. Okay. Grab a marker. Grab the markers here. This is what you're going to write on. Okay, I'm going to go from the table to table, and I want this first page is positive mindsets your parents had that you know that's been successful, it's moved them forward in life, and you look at it and you go, look, I want to emulate that. I'm trying to embody that.
How big do you want me to write?
I don't know. We're going to probably get a dozen out here, so let's see how long their sentences are. Hopefully, if you can get it to a word or two, perfect. So I'm going to start right with this table because you look eager. What was one of the ones at the table that sounded like there was more than one person saying the same thing with a mindset that was positive? Perseverance mindset. I love that. Perseverance, resilience, a lot of those things. If you have parents who've overcome a lot, had to break into a new culture or anything, that's definitely going to be a part of their mindset. That's awesome. I'm going to keep moving. What was a positive mindset at this table? Discipline. Positive mindset. Did you mean like disciplining you, or you mean they were disciplined in their work and their approach to life? Okay, yeah. So that was discipline in their approach to life, not disciplining them. How about you guys? What positive mindset kind of came up at this table?
We said open mindset.
Open mindset. Okay, open mindset. Now, did you mean by that like open to learn? They were open to new things?
Allowing us to experience new opportunities
Oh,
when we fail.
okay. Okay, that's awesome. Openness, allowing people to fail and move forward. What was one of the positive mindsets that came from this table?
We said encouragement.
Encouragement, Goose, it would be the next one. A positive mindset that you found your parents to be encouraging. They're behind you. They're trying to help you move forward. What about this table? What was one of the mindsets that came up here that was positive?
It's kind of long.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, not taking negativity from anyone.
So, like not taking crap off anyone? Is that kind of? So I don't know what's a word for that. Confident? Courageous? No? Bold?
It's like you have self-respect.
I like that. There you go. Good word, Vivinci. What about this table?
Faith-based.
Faith-based.
Mindset.
Yeah, it is a positive mindset. Faith-based would be next, Goose. No, you got to stay on that page. Just go on top next to the word positive. You can start up there. Faith-based. What was a positive mindset here?
We said good work ethic or hard work.
Yeah, a good work ethic. Work ethic. So guys, think of a mindset like this. A mindset is a lever that you pull on to move forward in life, or it's going to take you backwards in life. These are levers we're saying move you forward in life. Perseverance, discipline, a work ethic, open-mindedness, encouragement, self-respect, and faith. I mean, those are great mindsets. You guys have great parents. Let's, though, talk about limiting mindsets. So you already get how I'm going to go here. Start talking at your table. What's the one you're going to give? But make sure you stop talking when we get one from a table so you can hear what they're saying. So you ready to go, Goose? Okay, no. I'm gonna reverse the order. I'm going to come to you guys in a second, so come up with your negative one while Goose gets that word limiting. Yeah, limiting. That's perfect. That's perfect. What table's ready with their limiting mindset? Okay, right here.
Our limiting mindset was like sheltered, like very sheltered.
Sheltered. Let me ask this table, does sheltered feel like controlling? Yes. Put in brackets controlling around it, because sheltered, when your parents try to shelter you, especially it's great when you're 12 and 13, but when you become 23, 24, it can be controlling, and that's what it can feel like. I'm going to come to this table. I'm going to come back to this table. I'll come back to this table. Okay. What's a limiting mindset you guys had at this table?
We said like you have cultural differences and sometimes like get in the way.
So the cultural differences between like Canadian and maybe first gen or something, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, cultural differences. Yeah, so it's a hyphenated word. We'll do two words together, hyphenated word. Cultural differences, mindsets. That's great. How about at this table? Fear? Fear. A fear mindset. So also put in brackets next to that one, Goose, scarcity. A fear mindset often gives birth to a scarcity mindset. And a lot of people limit themselves in life because they think of life as being there's very little. And if you've come from very little, you've been through the Great Depression, anything like that, then sometimes it's hard for you to imagine a better future and it's hard for you to move into that. What about you guys at this table? Comparison. Do you mean you get compared to others? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's a little scorecard for you. I get how you're doing against other people in the family or other families around you.
Like social stigma too.
Social stigma. So a comparison trap. That's great. How about you guys? What was yours? Limiting.
Putting a lot of value into material things like academic validation and just the validation.
So accomplishment validations, really. You know, so education, material things. So putting, let's say, accomplishment values. I don't know how else to say it. Works. There you go. There you go. Works. Sure. You can put it in. There you go. Yeah.
Like image, like the family image.
Whoa, that's a big one. Ouch. Who came up with that one?
Well, we were just saying it together. We're like, oh yeah, like that. That's fun.
Guys, I grew up in a family that we had our Sunday version of us. And I'll tell you, there was a lot to pay for if we didn't live up to it on that Sunday. I'll tell you that much. And then there was the version that happened Monday to Saturday. But what about you guys? Limiting mindset.
Lack of emotional intelligence.
Lack of emotional intelligence. That's a really good one. That's a really good one. So we have one table left. They were the first table I came to.
We're gonna say like distant because it's hard to talk to them about certain things.
Distance. Hard to talk to them about a certain thing. A lack of intimacy, really.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get that, Goose? Lack of intimacy. Like distance. Distance is the word. You know, with these mindsets, guys, they're all birthed in certain soil. But whether it's sheltering or a fear-based mindset, they're very similar. The scarcity mindset, all of these things are birthed in similar soil. People come by mindsets honestly. Thanks, Goose. Great job, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let me talk to you briefly about my parents, John and Ruth. They're great parents. They're loving, but they're not perfect people. Some of you know my mom. My dad is gone now. But it was my mother's mindset that both became the yin and yang for us as Smith kids, her mindset. But this is a picture of my mom when she was a little girl. That's all that's left of her home she was raised in. This is a little farmhouse in rural, it's called Pleasant Ridge, New Brunswick. There's almost, like when I say an area, it's like 4 or 5 homes on the back of a mountain in the sticks of rural New Brunswick. My mom was born in a farmhouse. Poverty was just a part of her life. But my grandfather worked really hard just to feed the family. For Mom, hard work was normal work. Hard work was normal work for my mom. And so my mom is and a couple of you know my mom. She's a fighter. She's an overachiever. She is an overcomer, really is. She's impressive. She's 5'2". When she was in high school, she got a scholarship to go to McGill. And everyone in her family had not finished high school. None of them had. And they wanted her back on the farm, and she went to McGill against their wishes, became a physiotherapist. While she was at McGill at 5'2", she was the captain of the basketball team, captain of the track team, ran the hurdles, and captain of the badminton team. So, Ruth always played like she was big, and so she forgot she was 5'2". But if you meet her, even to this day, 83, she lives now on the East Coast again, back where I'm from. She was in Toronto for a while. She runs the beaches in the summer. Every day she does calisthenics and works out every day. She's a force to be reckoned with. There's a lot of great things I got from that. Every one of the 6 kids that she raised, we're all 6 of us, are high work ethic, high achievers. There's a shadow side to this because my mom valued accomplishments so much. So you got lots of applause when you accomplished great things. So if you were one of the 6 kids who excelled academically or excelled at certain things, you felt the shine. You felt the shine, she rewarded that. My mom is more paternal than maternal. She's not soft. There's no hugs. She doesn't need a hug. She'd give it to you if you're sick, if you wanted it, but that's not my mom. That's not how she rolled. And to this day, like, my mom is paternal. Those that you know, if you've ever interacted with Ruth, Ruth just tells it like it is, and that's how she is. Well, she's a product of that farm in Pleasant Ridge. It's a product of where she came from. The shadow side of this was every one of her kids were workaholics. All of us in our 20s excelled into our 30s, and then health problems, because we were just redlining it all the time, because that's what got rewarded in our home. That's what people noticed in our home. If you struggled, she was okay if you're struggling, as long as you were working like nothing out, nobody's business, because the only lever she had was work harder. Work hard would take care of everything, but working harder doesn't take care of your relationships. Working harder doesn't take care of your health, actually. And you'll never hear me not commend a good work ethic. I think a good work ethic is actually one of the keys to moving forward in life. But overworking, finding your identity in your accomplishments, finding your identity in your work, that's a bit of a formula for disaster. So I was thinking this week, just as I was preparing this, I was thinking about these limiting mindsets, and I couldn't help but think of dozens of people over the course of my ministry that I've interacted with. And I have this little thing with Shelley. I don't tell her ever names, but I tell her stories of things that people tell me. Not their problems going on, just the interactions I have with people. I don't tell their names. And there's 3 phrases we'll use over and over. She does the same, because we're learning lessons. We want to learn. We want to grow. And here's one thing I'll say all the time. Some people just can't get out of their own way. They just can't get out of their own way in life. Some people just seem to be their own biggest obstacle. They're terrible with people, or they refuse to change. They constantly trip on the same bad habits, because, often pride won't let them admit they got a problem. So they just keep tripping over themselves. So I've noticed that in life. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever met someone like that. They're their own worst enemy. They can't get out of their own way. Here's another one I've often used. If there's a hard way to do something, that guy or that girl always seems to take it. Do you ever meet that person? You ever been that person? That the only way they're going to learn the lesson is the hard way. And it's almost like they need pain to change. You don't need to wait for the bottom to fall out to change. Don't make that your catalyst and your button that leads you to change. Be proactive. Here's the last one that I've noticed. It's hard to help people who refuse to help themselves. This is why I make such a big deal about counseling in this church. So real talk, I'm sitting in my office here the first time I was the associate pastor here back in 2002 or 2003. And a family member of mine, a close family member, visited me. And she was under so much anxiety. High achiever, incredible accomplishments, so anxious all the time. And this has been going on her whole life. And she beat herself up. I just need to pray more. I just need to read the Bible more. I just need to do this more. And I realized in that moment, it just hit me. Man, I've been having the same conversation with you for like 10 years. And now the thoughts were getting darker. Like maybe this world would be better without me. And I stopped her mid-conversation. She hated me, or she did not like me for a while. I just said, if you do not go to a doctor this week, I'm calling your partner, your spouse, and I'm telling them what's going on. And she said, you will not. She got very angry. Long story short, she went to a doctor. She had a medication. She got the counseling. That person soared in life after this. Counseling is a step that God uses to unlock some of the broken patterns in our life. I know that sometimes we're our own worst problem. We're the reason why we don't step into greater places of health. We're the ones with limiting mindsets that keep us back. So here's the difference between healthy and unhealthy adults. Healthy adults are open to feedback and they want to change. They're open to feedback and they want to change. So if you got notes, I'm going to give you kind of 6 mindsets. They're not all going to be long. And again, at the end of this, if you have any questions, you want to talk, I'm happy to do that with you. But these are quick. These are, like, if you adopt these, I guarantee life is going to go easier for you as an adult. The first one is this: deflecting is reflecting. Deflecting is blame shifting. When you blame shift and you always deflect, so every problem you have in life is somebody else's fault, that's reflecting a small mindset. That's reflecting a mindset where you will have a limited success in this life. I've worked with so many people over the course of my life who blame others for their problems. And of course, people can contribute to that. That mindset gives them all the power. That mindset gives other people all the power and leaves you with no power to change. When we push back, when people give us feedback, we will lose the gift of growth in our life. So if you've lived with me or you worked on staff with me, you've probably heard me say this, because I do the same phrase I have for years. Are you open to some feedback? I never give people feedback unless they're open to it. Remember Jesus had a parable, pearls before swine? Don't throw your pearls before swine. I don't know if you heard that saying, but that's basically what Jesus was saying. If they're not open, don't waste your energy. So I always ask people all the time, are you open to feedback? Because feedback is a gift. It's a gift. So here's a little picture of Keith and I. You guys remember Pastor Keith? So I had hair then. This is probably 2003, something like that. I know where we were. I don't know what we were doing here, but I know where we were at this moment. But I worked for Keith for 9 years as his associate pastor. I know some very awkward meetings when he met with me and he gave me feedback. And every time I wanted to get defensive, every time, you know, when someone's giving me feedback and you're like, hey, wait, you don't understand. But if this person did that, and I learned the discipline of shutting my mouth and listening to the feedback, because if I get defensive, they'll never give me the gift of feedback again. So much so, the end of my time with Keith, I was running so much of the church, and I remember we had an annual review, and he said, what do I say? You had a great year, Jonathan. I said, and I came out of my mouth before I realized what I was saying. I said, give me a gift. Give me some feedback. Give me something to work on. Because it was a wound of a friend. I could trust this. He's giving me feedback that will help me level up and grow in life. So the posture I always give with feedback is, one, I never give it unless someone wants it. So you open to some feedback? And I've never had someone say no, because when I say it that way, it's a little disarming. You open to some feedback? Yeah, sure. And I'm gentle. I'm not here to beat anyone with it. But it's always with the heart. I want them to get better. I want them to get better. But I also have to posture my heart. I've been corrected many times. As a pastor, you need thick skin. People want to give you correction all the time. And I need to be open to feedback. Because if I'll become a danger to a church, or I'll become a danger to myself or my family. You're never too old to get feedback. Posture your heart to be a learner. Posture your heart to be open to feedback. And I guarantee you won't stay small. If you close feedback, if you don't receive it, you will stay small and you'll stay stuck in a rut. You'll be a blame shifter the rest of your life. A victim. And it's a poor way to live because you lose all your energy. If you want power in life, and I don't mean the type of power that's tyrannical and abusive. I mean the type of power that allows you to move through things. Keep your power. You keep your power by being open. You keep your power by not blame shifting, just owning your junk. So the second one is this. As you soar in life, value relationships as greater than accomplishments. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago in one of our weekend gatherings. I know you guys are all at the stage where you gotta win some trophies in life. You gotta do some things to get ahead in life. It not only gets the applause, it opens doors, but be careful that you get your dopamine hits from the wins. You know, the treasures, the prizes, the pats on the back and everything else. Never, and I hope you guys do great things. I hope you guys do things far greater than I've ever done. I want you to succeed and be successful in life, but I hope you never do it at the expense of a person. I just hope you never do it at the expense. Howard Schultz, anyone remember? He was the founder of Starbucks, this little it's a coffee chain. You probably never heard of it. If you never heard of Oprah, you never heard of Starbucks. I know that. But it's a little coffee chain. He said this famously. He said, "Success is empty if you arrive at the finish line alone." I think the Apostle Paul said it better. And again, Gen Z version. Yo, don't be all about the drama and showing off. Instead, be humble. Consider others as more important than yourself. Don't focus on your own stuff, but take a moment to consider what's going on with others too. So my son, Keenan, I think I mentioned on the weekend, he loves football, soccer. Any soccer fans here? You guys, any soccer fans? I'm going to do a little poll here. Any baseball fans? None, okay. Any hockey fans? 2 of us, okay. Any football fans like American football? American football? 2, okay. This is not a very athletically inspired group. Oh, any volleyball fans? Okay. Any basketball fans? Okay, that's good. Well, any soccer fans? Let's go back to that one, okay. So he loves English Premier League. I do too. I know. I like every sport. I really do. I grew up playing them all. And there's a coach, though, and this is leading somewhere. There's a coach. He was the head coach of Liverpool Football Club. He's one of the greatest coaches in history. He retired a year ago. And he sent me a little video, and he's getting interviewed about what he thinks made him a great coach. And this quote was just made me stop the video. He said this. He said, most coaches collect trophies. I collect relationships. Every player in that league wanted to play for him. Every player wanted to be around him because he collected relationships. Friends, in life, I know I'm talking to a generation right now, you guys love your friends. It's amazing when you get into the workforce in life and you're competing against them. And it's amazing when you just see people that you come to work and they're the competition. Be careful with that. Value, I say to our staff all the time, you're a person before a function. You are more than what you do. You're more than what you do. Don't get caught up in the mindset that it's all about the gold, that it's all about the end goal. It's all about building a comfortable life. That's not the win in life. It's finishing with people in your life. So I've had the difficulty and the pleasure and the privilege of being in the hospital room with many people as they breathe their last breath. I remember the first time I did that, I was like 23, 24, and I'm watching someone die in front of me, and it was sobering. The family's crying, I'm crying, I'm supposed to be the pastor, but I'm just bawling. So I'm watching this. But this woman had run a great race. You could feel God there. I've also been there with men who raced to get stuff, lost marriages, lost kids, lost relationships, lost friendships. And it's so sobering to sit in that moment and they realize they lost the game of life. Because all those things don't matter. All those things go away. All your power goes away. You get old and nobody listens to you. But people that you love, they will. They're the ones who will show up. Love the people in your life well. Give them some grace. Make sure you elevate relationship over accomplishment. Next one. This one is I think the most dangerous trap I've seen in North American culture. Entitlement is a trap. Enlightenment is a path. Entitlement is a trap. Entitlement blinds you to the realities of life and it sets you up for failures. By enlightenment, I mean your eyes are open. They're open to opportunity. When you're entitled, you're closed to opportunity. So I have 3 sayings and I want you to repeat after me. You ready? But you guys got to bring more energy to it this time. Because I'm feeling like the feedback here and stuff like that. Like I'm just not feeling it like that. I'm still stuck in the Oprah one. One person knew Oprah. Is that true? Nobody else knew who Oprah was? Oh, you're just lying. Oh, okay. No. Okay, here, repeat after me. Here's the line. My parents don't owe me anything. Okay, here's another one. God doesn't owe me anything. The world doesn't owe me anything. Do you know how many adults walk through life feeling like the world or God or their parents owe them something? Big chip on their shoulder. And that entitlement creates what I call scorekeepers in life. So one of my favorite parables is usually a parable everybody hates. My favorite parable that Jesus ever told is in Matthew chapter 20. And it's a weird story. Here's how the story goes in Matthew 20. Like, there's a guy who owns a vineyard, and he needs people to work, so he hires a group of guys early in the morning to work in this vineyard. They come, they're working hard. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He realizes there's a lot more work. I gotta go hire more people. So he goes over here and he hires a whole new group of people to come and work in the vineyard. And it's still not enough. So at 5 o'clock, he goes back and he hires another group of people to work in the vineyard. And then, so no problem, but at the end of the day, they all lined up to get paid. No problem, they're all gonna get paid. Everybody got paid the exact same amount. Everyone got paid. The people who showed up at 6 in the morning and the people who showed up at 5 p.m. got paid the exact same money. And every North American that ever reads that is going like, that's not fair. Yeah, that's not fair. Hey, wait. And I love how Jesus has the vineyard owner respond. He responds this way. Yo, I'm going to keep going with this version tonight. I am tonight. Yo, don't I have the right to do whatever I want with my stuff? Guys, who owns your stuff? God does. Your breath that you have that fills your lungs, gift. The mind that you use to accomplish all those things in school, a gift. The people that God has placed around you, gifts. Mobility that you had to walk in this room. You got out of bed today and you were able to walk into this room. That's a gift. There are many people that would trade places with you. You know, these are gifts that God freely gives. So he says, whatever I want from my own stuff, why you got to be jealous just because I'm being generous? And here, I love what this author said about this. His name's Mark Buchanan. He's a Canadian pastor. He said this. He said, the parable of the vineyard worker teaches us to stop measuring and start trusting. You know, when you measure, you usually measure yourself against others, what they got and what you don't. Instead of trusting God, that God will give you what you need when you need it. God's kingdom doesn't operate on scales we create. His generosity surprises and offends us, but it also frees us to stop striving and rest in His grace. When I came back from Montreal to be the lead pastor here, I gave the staff a book called Fairness is Overrated, because it is. Fairness ended in the Garden of Eden. If you're trying to be fair, but you know, I mentioned my mom. I remember my mom sitting us, we're all little kids, sitting us on the stairs in the living room area. She sat us all down, she looked us all in the eye, and she said, I will never treat you fairly. We're like, what, Mommy? And it was because one of our brothers had gotten something new, and none of us did. And she goes, each will get what they need when they need it. I am not going to, and she would not play that game. My mom never treated us all fair. It was like, who needs me most at this time? That's who got the attention. Who needs something at this time? That's who got the attention. And like that beat something out of me. There was like, I wasn't an only child. I was one of 6. There's lots of people to compare to. There's lots of stuff going around. But I realized fairness is a bit of a trap. It usually creates comparison. It's sideways energy. And a lot of people in life who get entitled get massively stuck because when you refuse to be entitled, you're harder to offend. When you refuse to be entitled in life, things can't hold you. You can hold on to things, but things can't hold you. It's powerful to live a life where you don't feel entitled. You don't feel like nobody owes me anything. Shelley, my wife, she doesn't owe me anything. My kids don't owe me anything. All those things are gifts that they give, and I don't want them to feel that they owe me something because I've given them something. Once you start that scorekeeping, something changes. Here's the next one. I won't spend long on this one, but this one's going to be controversial. Follow your talent, not your passion. Follow your talent, not your passion. I like what this guy, Leo Bascaglia says. I can't even say his last name. Your talent is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift to God. Your talent is what God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift to God. when you get into an area where you have true talent, and you combine that with passion, that's where you do things that are memorable and great. And it's not always your profession. Sometimes your profession is paying the bills, so you can pursue your talent and your passion. All I'm saying is, follow your talent. Each of you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're unique. You have giftings to bring. And I'm going to talk about how you can find your talent at the end here, because we're going to talk about what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time. Okay, so next one, number 5. We're almost done. Don't react. Instead, sit back. This is one of the hardest things to do for Christians. How do you become a non-reactive person? I watched Christians just get so angry all the time. I follow a pastor on Twitter, and he's in the States, and he began to screenshot Christians' responses to the election and everything else. Here's a couple of them that he put up there. Here's one person tweeted out, "After what I heard tonight from Kamala during the debate, I want to make a clear and bold statement. You cannot, period. I repeat, you cannot be a Spirit-filled, Bible-believing Christian and vote for Kamala under the leadership of the Spirit. You cannot, period. It's like, yes, you can. Like, this is an oversimplification of something, like, because you can equally put that up for Donald Trump. But this is the thing. Christians get angry, they react, and they lose their witness. Here's the one that he tweeted after. It's okay to use deception in the service of defeating the left. It's not sinning in order to do good. It's being righteously shrewd in order to do good. It's also enjoying it. It's okay to enjoy it, lighten up. So it's okay to be unethical in order to accomplish something you think is a righteous thing. See, Christians get crazy sometimes because they're reactionary. Things, you poke them and they become versions of themselves that are embarrassing. I don't know if you guys ever feel that or see that. I guess I have a front row seat to a lot of it. I wish we would just chill. Sit back. When you get poked and you feel like reacting and blowing up or anything, take a step back. Let the peace of God guard your heart and mind. Take some time to discern. Doesn't mean you don't challenge things in this world. Doesn't mean that at all. But Jesus was what you would call a non-reactive presence. He was a non-reactive presence. Don't take the bait from the liars and the manipulators and the I'm always right experts and the sensationalized slippery slope guys or the angry preachers. Don't take the bait from them, guys. So here's what Henry Nouwen said. He's a Yale professor. He's dead and gone now, but a great follower of Jesus. He said, Jesus did not react with hostility to hostility. He responded with the most disarming act of all, love. I like what Tim Keller said. Christ was not driven by the anger of the moment, but by the love of eternity. He never reacted in fear or frustration. His responses were always rooted in his Father's will. And then I put this one in your notes here. Dallas Willard, he said this, in all his interactions, Jesus shows us that being non-reactive is not about passivity, but about intentionality. Respond with purpose and love, not reflex. Not reflex. So I've been in some pretty toxic situations. I've had people yelling at me. I've had people say all kinds of things. And you know what I've learned a long time ago? Now, this is something I learned from my dad. I let them have their say, and I don't return anger for anger. I always say this in the side of my head. This is what I say. I'm going to do a little cheat code for you. I always say to myself, Jonathan, you're the adult in the room. How many adults become like kids? And I refuse to be that. And so I just say, Jonathan, you're the adult in the room. So I'm going to respond calmly. I can be very firm, but I'm going to be calm. And if I need time to think it through, because sometimes people come at you with a lot of stuff, aggressively, quickly, take it, listen, I'm going to need to get back to you. So the way I learned it, I was like 12 years old. I went to my dad's store. My dad was a businessman. And I listened to a customer yell at him, raise his voice and everything else. And my dad was calm the whole time. My dad just said, listen, I can hear you. We can solve this. It's okay. He didn't demean him by saying relax or something like that. He didn't try to fight him or anything. I remember him leaving, and I said to my dad, I said, Dad, what that guy was wrong. Why did you let him do that? And he said, Jonathan, I don't become like what I don't want to be. I don't want to be that. I'm not going to become like that. So, and that's where I grabbed that at 12 years old. Oh, you can be the adult in every conversation. You can be the adult in every situation. And the adult is in control of their emotions. Doesn't mean you don't feel things. Doesn't mean you don't get angry. Doesn't mean all those things. But you're under control. You're bringing things under control. Here's the last one. Easy one. Choose adventure over comfort. Don't build a life of comfort. Build a life of adventure. Pastor Francis Chan, he said this: God doesn't call us to be comfortable. He calls us to trust him so completely that we're unafraid to put ourselves in situations where we will be in trouble if he doesn't come through. You know, I often hear people in Western culture say, why don't we see more miracles here? Because we do everything we can never to need God bad enough for a miracle. We do everything we can never to find ourselves on that edge. And then Bob Goff said this: Jesus didn't come to make us safe, he came to make us brave. So I wanted to end with that. I just wanted to say this: you're at the age where you should dare and risk. Dare and risk some things. There's going to be plenty of times when you get my age, you got to play a little more safe. I'm 54. I've been around the world. I've had many adventures. I've done things that people said I couldn't do. Take some risks, guys. Put yourself out there. Dare some things. I don't mean be stupid. You know I'm not saying that. Take some calculated risks. But this is your era to try new things, to be open to new things, to listen to new things, to grow, develop. Don't be afraid. The most often repeated command in Scripture is do not be afraid. Why? Because you're in the hands of God. Stay with him. He's got you. So I told you I wanted to help you where we're going in 3 weeks' time. You need to know who you are if you're going to be who God made you to be. You need to know who you are. So in 3 weeks' time, we're going to do something called the Working Genius. I don't know if you've heard the Working Genius. Have anyone heard of Patrick Lencioni, the table group, all that? No, a couple of you. Well, this is a testing thing. You're going to receive a link. I want everyone here to take the Working Genius, but it's going to cost you. It's $25, I think, for the testing. We don't get any of the money for that. That's just what it costs us for you to take the test. All of our staff go through the Working Genius. All my family, my kids have gone through the Working Genius, because knowing how God has wired you will help you become and explore and be the person that God made you to be. And what we're going to do in 3 weeks' time, we're going to turn this room into a Working Genius working seminar. You're going to discover what energizes the people that you know around you, how God wired them, and how God has wired and energized you. This is all about finding your energy in life and finding your fit in life. And so I want to encourage you, take the Working Genius. And if you do, everyone who takes it, I'll send you my slide deck. So all those quotes and stuff, you can just have them. I'll send you the slide deck for anyone who takes it, but take it because it'll benefit you. If you can't afford it, talk to Pastor Stephanie. She'll do her best to help you with that. But if you all take it, this is going to be a much funner event in 3 weeks' time, because we're going to turn this room into a Working Genius thing. You're going to discover, this is going to be fun. You're going to discover how God has wired you, how he's wired you to work, what seats he's wired you to sit in life, so you don't spend a lot of time spinning your wheels doing something like my friend does, something that they're not wired for. So that's is it 3 weeks or 2 weeks' time? There you go, October 3rd, whenever that is. So you're not going to want to miss Stuart next week, but the week after, we're doing the Working Genius as a team, but you need to do the testing in advance. Here's what's going to happen. You'll receive a link in the email. You click on the link. It's going to take you about 20 minutes to do the Working Genius assessment. It will mail you the results. I'd like you to read the results right away. Email you, not snail mail. It'll email you the results. I'd like you to read the results. This is done by a Christian guy, but it's done in a business corporate context, though, too. So it's been used in secular avenues, but it's really helpful for you knowing who you are. And then when we come together, I'll debrief with you guys all. You'll understand the Working Genius, how they work together, what roles best fit you, and how God wired you. Hey, guys, I love you. Pray for you all the time. I say this to my boys. I pray over you guys all the time. I want you to do far greater things than I ever did, and the adults that are older than you in this church. I'm hoping you build off of what we did, and you do even greater things for God. I hope you're successful in the kingdom more than you are successful in the workplace. But I know this, if you're successful in the kingdom, it likely will affect you in the workplace. I hope you are so successful in the kingdom that you're successful in your relationships. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, it says, and he'll add everything you need in life. It's not a mystery. Seek his kingdom first, seek his righteousness, and listen, God will take care of the rest of the details in your life. Let's be adults. Father, thank you, God, for this great group of people. These are young men and women. And God, I pray, Lord, in your name, by your Spirit, God, you'd help them to unearth whatever limiting mindsets they might be holding on to. And you give them the courage to let them go. And you'd help them to grab on to life-giving mindsets, ones that will move them forward in life to become healthy, mature adults that contribute, that can love well, that can explore, that can adventure in life. God, that they would elevate the adventure of following you over the comforts of life that it may offer. God, help them not to get trapped, but help them to keep moving forward. Thank you for them in Jesus' name. Amen.